Picture an unfamiliar echo haunting the killers in old Paris, not desperate wails, not desperate appeals for pardon, but melodic chants from 16 female throats advancing to the chopping block like approaching a sacred shrine. And with each descent of the sharp edge, the melody persists, diminished by a single tone, yet it endures. The onlookers are baffled on how to respond. For endless weeks they've reveled in the spectacles of doom, hurling slurs, craving further carnage. But on this occasion, stillness reigns. The sight before them defies logic. These are the secluded sisters from Compiegne, 16 veiled women isolated from society for years on end. Now the uprising condemns them precisely for that seclusion. Among them stands young Blanche, at 28, the freshest face, having dwelled 9 cycles without glimpsing beyond those barriers. Her initial view of external existence is the fatal device, and she leads the ascent to the platform. Prior to facing the cutter, Blanche drops to her knees, facing a senior figure at the group's rear, the head sister, inquiring, "Grant me leave to perish, dear leader." The superior touches her cheek gently. "Proceed, my dear." Blanche presses lips to a miniature figure of the Holy Mother concealed in the leader's grasp, brushes past the handler, and strides to the mechanism intoning verses. She initiates the sequence, far from concluding it. The events unfolding in the following 60 minutes will hush the entire capital. A metropolis hooked on spectacles of demise, rendered mute by 16 females who persist in their tunes. This tale is rooted in reality, unfolding on the 17th of the 7th month in 1794, amid the goriest surge of the Gallic upheaval. Merely a decuple of suns hence, the dominant figure in the land, the issuer of their doom decree, mounted identical risers. The architect of the lethal apparatus dominion met fate under its swing. Yet the untold prelude to that platform reveals how 16 innocents unfamiliar with brutality got yanked from sanctuaries, deprived of core convictions, commanded to forsake beliefs or face extinction. They opted for the latter, but only after pledging an oath destined to shadow the insurgency eternally. Welcome to the historian fact, unveiling authentic chronicles. If such narratives resonate, show appreciation with approval and enrollment. By the year 1794, the nation had spiraled into frenzy. An initial push for autonomy morphed into a slaughter engine. Visions of liberty and fairness submerged in crimson floods. A figure called the Unyielding One steered the Safety Council, spotting adversaries in every shadow. Nobles concealed in lofts, clerics conducting covert rituals, those failing to cheer vigorously at communal beheadings. The remedy appeared straightforward: eradicate them wholly, divine judgment to classify later. Though the leader rejected divinity's existence, within under 12 moons, the insurgent court dispatched beyond 17,000 to the slicer. In the Heart City, terminations occurred routinely, at times 3 dozen in one post-noon span. The operators honed a cadence: prepare, align, release, proceed. Efficiency allowed a termination bi-minutely. The venue fated for these sisters' end dispatched over 300 in mere 42 days. The soil grew so drenched that crimson puddles formed amid stones. Locals lodged official grievances over the odor. Mortality's reek evolved into civic disturbance. But the chief harbored particular venom toward one entity, the Universal Faith Body. He viewed it as royal confederate, a mechanism fostering ignorance and submission. Thus, he unleashed assault on spirituality outright. Sanctuaries shuttered or repurposed as logic shrines, spiritual guides coerced into public vow rejections or blade confrontations, sacred observances banned. Even time reckoning altered to purge spiritual imprints. Donning spiritual garb now merited capital penalty. For the 16 secluded sisters residing in a tranquil haven in Compiegne, some 50 leagues from the hub, this equated to deferred condemnation. In the 9th month of 1792, armed forces arrived, ousting them from abode. The veiled ones thrust into avenues, barred from robes, prohibited communal dwelling. Yet the guiding figure, known as Teresa of the revered Augustine, declined dispersion of her flock. She secured 4 modest dwellings in the vicinity for covert cohabitation, sustaining devotions and murmurs. Then she initiated a remarkable step. She assembled her kin and suggested, might they consent to present their existences as atonement for the homeland, not pursuing demise but embracing it upon arrival, tendering anguish to halt the gore? A pair of elder members wavered. The notion bordered lunacy, yet Teresa allotted prayer intervals. Within mere hours they reappeared, seeking pardon for timidity. The assembly affirmed without dissent, Thenceforth, daily at the fourth dawn hour, the 16 renewed their presentation. They beseeched that should their departures procure tranquillity for the realm, the Almighty embraced the tribute. Uncertainty shrouded demise's timing. Readiness alone was certain. Across 24 moons they lingered, invoking, concealing, observing as dread engulfed surroundings. Then, in the 6th month of 94, betrayal struck. On the 21st of that period, troops shattered entry pre-dawn. An informant had surfaced a local dweller, merchant or bounty seeker, enticed by regime incentives for unveiling concealed devotees. Dual anims of vigilant discretion, obliterated via solitary murmur. Invaders ravaged possessions, discovered correspondences, invocation tomes, sacred emblems, a diminutive Holy Mother effigy proof of persistent veiled lifestyle. Accusations, zealotry plus anti-uprising deeds. In straightforward terms, offense equaled invocation. The 16 kin transferred to a prior haven, repurposed as detention. The twist stung, veiled ones confined in structure once shielding similars. Yet peculiar occurrences transpired within confines. Fellow captives observed these sisters. Amid despair's domain where inmates sobbed and unraveled from dread, these 16 diverged. They upheld invocations, arising at fourth morn as habitual. They vocalized anthems in chambers. They solaced the petrified. Overseas veiled ones, of differing order, detained identically, later chronicled them. They appeared priming for nuptials, not termination. On the 12th of 7th, wardens arrived for capital transferal for judgment. Complication arose. Lay attire under cleanse thus journeyed in prohibited garb. The prohibited attire itself. Voyage spanned hours via exposed wagons. Certain spectators flung barbs, yet the sisters neither concealed nor shrank. They vocalized anthems throughout, tones surpassing rebel clamor. Upon capital arrival, they had morphed into enigma for the insurgency. What enigma might that be? The adjudication farce amused none in the chamber. Insurgent hearings lacked innocence presumption. Absent genuine advocates, no reconsiderations, nil opportunity. Outcome predetermined pre-utterance. The panel functioned as legality's facade atop governmental homicide. The accuser, a figure dispatching multitudes to demise sans slumber loss, had pursued the deposed queen. He consigned scholars, versifiers, commanders to Qatar with identical apathy. To him, 16 females arrayed equated mere roster deletions. He recited indictments in monotone akin to provisions enumeration. Sisters charged with zealotry, armament, concealment, crown allegiance, faux communications, armament allegation bordered absurdity, sans grave stakes. Solely arms unearthed, sacred tokens, holy depictions, invocation volumes, bead strings, tiny Holy Mother figure, perilous items per uprising lens. Yet a singular instant endured, a dialogue etched in recollections for eras. Upon zealotry utterance, guiding Teresa disrupted session. Chamber hushed. Accused refrained from interjections. Accused endured quietly, accepting destiny. Yet Teresa's tone remained serene, nigh inquisitive. Clarify that term's intent, if you will. The accuser eyed her as audacious vermin. I denote your cling to juvenile notions and absurd rites. A buzz traversed the space. All anticipated Teresa's remorse, plea, justification. She beamed. Not anxious, not rebellious, a tranquil beam, as affirming prior knowledge. If divine faith equaled zealotry, indeed culpable, all were, embracing demise willingly. The panel queried each veiled one identically. Would you retract oaths, reject creed, pledge state loyalty? Ultimate escape, singular term, mere disavowal of convictions, permitting chamber exit vital. Return to kin possible. Existence feasible. Blanche, freshest, responded initially. Negative. Kinmari embodying incarnation, 30 cycles veiled. Negative. Kin Euphrasia, initial hesitator at Teresa's oath suggestion. Negative. Sequentially, 16 instances, identical reply. Nay, 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 nay. Decree, termination. Entire 16. Upon pronouncement, sisters abstained from lamentation. No crumpling, no magistrate maledictions, no clemency implorations. They reaffirmed spiritual oaths, their amid condemners. Identical oaths assumed anims prior in Haven's calm. Oaths uprising aimed to obliterate. Then commenced the gratitude anthem, appreciating divinity for faith perishing honor. Wardens rigidified. Accuser's visage contorted perplexedly. This deviated script. Condemned refrained from post-sentence melodies. Condemned expressed nil gratitude, yet interruption absent. Perhaps insurgents intuited observing transcendence, rendering documents panels cut a minuscule. 17th of 7th, 94, waning daylight. Midsummer swelter oppressed the hub, demise venues aroma intolerable. Weeks of routine terminations saturated terrain with crimson. 16 sisters loaded onto wagons alongside 24 fellow doomed. From outset, distinction evident. Whilst others wailed or petrified rigidly, veiled ones vocalized triple hours via urban paths, tones ceaseless. Sorrow chants, hail sovereign, gratitude. Antique melodies hub unhearing for annums, resounding off structures amnesia stricken on devotion's timbre. Folks halted, gazing. Vendors emerged from emporiums. Females protruded from casements. Youths gestured, querying those women's vocalizations. Hub witnessed myriad captives hauled to doom, never beheld serene, annihilated visages. Upon wagon's square attainment, Terminator Charles Henri awaited. He dispatched thousands. Witnessed myriad human responses to demise, confrontation, panic, fury, hopelessness, resistance, breakdown. Unwitnessed what impending. Sisters solicited allowance for ultimate anthem pre-commencement. He consented. Perhaps intrigue, perhaps he sensed alteration in gore-drenched arena. Sisters intoned come spirit creator. Arrive, sacred essence. 16 tones ascending in seasonal breeze, then reaffirmed oaths ultimately. Teresa declared sequence, freshest to eldest, youthful perish initially, senior, herself inclusive, conclude. Intentional, elders observe juniors precede, imparting fortitude via presence till finale. Blanche advanced. 28 annums, 9 in heaven. Initial external vista, arena, platform, edge. She approached Teresa, knelt ultimately. Leave to perish, leader. Teresa regarded protégé-guided annums, youth entering adolescent, forsaking all for devotion existence, now soliciting existence, forfeiture. Proceed, kin. Blanche impressed miniature clay Holy Mother Teresa, palmed covertly. Rose, platform ward. Handlers' aides moved assistance. She declined. Assistance unnecessary. Blanche ascended solo, aligned, regarded kin ultimately, sustained intonation till edge descent. Onlookers muted. Nil acclaim, nil barbs, void. Melody persisted 15-fold. Kin St. Louis advanced, knelt. Leave to perish, leader. Effigy impression, solo ascent, edge descent, 14-fold. King Euphrasia, leave to perish, leader. 13-fold, sequentially. Identical ceremony, identical query, identical sanction, identical lone platform trek. Each declining handler aid, each intoning till edge mutes tone. Onlookers immobilized. These spectators treated terminations as amusement, acclaimed, mocked, urged acceleration. Now absolute hush, observing 16 females transmute slaughter zone into indefinable. 12 tones, decade, octet. Each termination sub 60 ticks. Yet observers' chronology halted. Nil mockery, nil ovation, nil impatient urgings. Mere multitude static, while 16 rendered demises akin adoration. Kin Julie, labor sister, lifetime haven chores, ascended equivalently to melody kin. Latin, unlearned. Doctrine, unstudied, yet anthems memorized, daily vocalized decades. Kin Mary crucified Jesus 78, eldest. Veiled exceeding 50 annums. Endured complex scarcities, crown crumble. Now confronted life ender. Paused, regarded him, nil malice, nil dread. I absolve wholly. Music, murmured softly. Beseech divinity absolves likewise. Charles, Terminator, absorbed myriad finales, maledictions, invocations, shrieks, admissions. Yet diminutive senior proffering absolution chilled him. She ascended unaided, intoning remnant kin. Quintet tones, trio, duo, ultimately solo. Teresa Augustine Saint stood isolated in arena. Observed 15 protégés perish. Sanctioned each. Held effigy impressed. Uttered, proceed kin 15-fold. Now nil sanctioner, nil grantor, nil holder. Effigy impressa absent, regarded multitudes, myriads visages reciprocating mute, intoned hail sovereign finale solo, tone traversed arena, crimson terrain, kin forms, then platform ascent, unrushed, unfaltering, aligned beneath edge, skyward gaze, melody cease, edge descent, hub muted, chroniclers later noted profoundest hush experienced. In demise accustomed metropolis, normalizing terminations as communal diversion, 16 intoning veiled ones achieved impossibility, induced hub remorse, 16 forms held into communal pit at secluded burial ground with additional hundreds dread victims. Nil indicators, nil rites, nil invocations, mere cadaver mound in overabundant metropolis, yet afternoon fracture irreparable for uprising. Chroniclers ceaseless unwitnessed. In alehouses, bazaars, hushed alley dialogues, folks narrated 16 veiled ones' demise ward intoning. Serenity visages, edge embrace akin boon. Weeks, hub dwellers rationalized terminations essential, casualties foes meriting demise. Yet these females what offense save invocation, query lingered akin persistent haze. Decuple sons post, 27/7/94, chief apprehended. Personal confederates opposed. Dread architect, thousands doomed decrees steady palmed, abruptly opposed. Subsequent dawn, 28th, dominant Maximilian horde identical platform sisters intoned. Intonation absent. Ed's descent chronicler's note. Shriek reverberated arena. Dread dominion concluded. Happenstance, enduring insurgents affirmed. Mere governance. Mere chronology. 16 veiled demises unrelated to chief tumble. Yet arena standers uncertain. Shift 17th 7th. Dread nourished panic. Abruptly 16 demonstrated panic conquerable. Cutter, solely corporeal dominion. All removable, unbreakable spirit. Overseas kin, co-detained with sisters, endured dread. Liberation post, unearthed sisters lay garb abandoned. Retained as sacred remnants. Martyr perspiration. Lacrimi stained. Lifetimes recounting witness to auditors. Universal faith entity delayed response. Century plus, central nil official unsisters. Certain chroniclers posit entity shamed protection failure. Others deem narrative governance perilous for entity France peace seeking. 1906, Pontiff beatified 16 sufferers. Merely December 2024, current Pontiff sainted officially. 230 annums duration for entity formal acknowledgement. What hub multitude grasp single post noon. Secluded burial in hub intersisters. Concealed rear barriers, tourist itineraries absent, majority locals unaware, interior tranquil. Arboreals, verdure, diminutive shrine wall inscribed nomenclature. Hundreds nomenclatures. Dread casualties. Majority oblivion. Yet 16 nomenclatures resonate. Blanche, Marie, Julie, Teresa. Females electing demise over disloyalty. Countering dread with melody. Displaying gore-intoxicated metropolis authentic valor. Annual 17th 7th modest assembly convenes at site. Illuminate tapers, invoke, intone identical anthems. Blanche kin vocalize 230 annums prior. Hail sovereign, come creator. Tones tranquil burial sustaining recollection tones once muting raging throng. 16 females convinced atonement halt slaughter. Accurate. Demises conclude dread. Chronicles unprovable, yet certain. Decuple post-demise, dread architect. Identical platform perished. 230 post folks recall 16 intoning veiled names. Executioner's nomenclature faded oblivion. Perhaps sole relevant response. Perhaps true triumph, non-survival. Remembrance for unyielding refusal. This, the historian fact. History unsanitized, authentic occurrences displayed. Crave additional chronicles globe attempted enroll remark deposit. If this chronicle stirred, approve, enroll the historian fact for further. Continuing the saga, let's delve deeper into the individual lives that comprise this remarkable group, drawing from historical records to paint fuller portraits without altering the core events. First, consider the prioress, Mother Teresa of St. Augustine, born Madeleine Claudine Le Dorwin in 1752 to a modest Parisian family. Entering the Carmel at age 19, she rose quickly due to her intellect and devotion, becoming sub-prioress before assuming leadership in 1788 amid brewing unrest. Her education, partly funded by royal patronage, equipped her to navigate the convent's affairs astutely. Yet it was her spiritual depth that inspired the collective vow, transforming potential victims into willing offerings. What inner strength propelled such a decision? MC5. Nearby stood her deputy, Mother St. Louis, or Marie-Anne Brideau, also born 1752, from a provincial background, joining at 21. Known for administrative prowess, she managed daily operations, ensuring the community's sustenance even in exile. Her steadfastness bolstered the group during hidden years. Then the eldest, Sister of Jesus Crucified, Marie-Anne Piedcourt, born 1715, a veteran of nearly 8 decades, having professed vows in 1737. Her longevity witnessed multiple regimes, offering wisdom drawn from famines and wars survived. Despite frailty, her spirit remained unbowed, forgiving her executioner in a moment etched in annals. Her sibling, another lay sister, shared similar resilience. Sister Charlotte of the Resurrection, Anne-Marie Madeleine Faun, born 1715, served as sacristan, meticulously tending sacred vessels, a role rendered poignant when those items became evidence against them. Entering at 21, her life of quiet service exemplified Carmelite humility. Sister Therese of the Heart of Mary, Marie Antoinette Tanisette, born 1740, professed 1764, brought artistic talents, perhaps illuminating manuscripts in calmer times. Former prioress Mother Henriette of Jesus, Marie-Françoise Gabrielle de Croissy, born 1745, led prior to Thérèse, her experience vital in crisis navigation. Sister Therese of St. Ignatius, Marie-Gabrielle Trezel, born 1743, known for contemplative depth, contributed to the unanimous vote despite initial doubts among some. The widow Sister Julia Louisa of Jesus, Rose Chrétien de la Neuville, born 1741, brought worldly experience, having married young before veiling post-bereavement. Lay Sister St. Francis Xavier, Anne Piedcourt, kin to the eldest, born around 1746, handled practical duties with equal fervor. Novice Sister Constance, Marie Geneviève Meunier, born 1765, the youngest professed mere months before arrest, her innocence contrasting the horror. Lay Sister Mary of the Holy Spirit, Angelique Grossel, born 1742, and Sister Saint Martha, Marie Dufour, same year, managed kitchens and laundries, their labor sustaining the hidden life. Another St. Francis Xavier, Julie Verelotte, born 1764, youthful energy aiding adaptations. Finally, externs Catherine and Thérèse Sauiron, born 1742 and 1748, served as gatekeepers, bridging cloister and world, ironic given their ultimate fate. These biographies reveal not monolithic figures, but diverse women united in purpose. How did such variety forge unbreakable bonds? Expanding on the revolutionary backdrop, the upheaval stemmed from 1789's Bastille storming, fueled by Enlightenment ideals clashing with monarchical absolutism. Economic woes, crop failures, debt from American aid exacerbated tensions. The 1790 civil constitution of the clergy aimed to nationalize church properties, requiring oaths from priests, splitting the faithful into jurors and refractories. Robespierre, born 1758, rose via Jacobin clubs advocating virtue through terror. His committee, formed April 1793, wielded dictatorial power, suspecting counter-revolution everywhere. Dechristianization peaked with reason cults, churches becoming rationality temples, calendars decimalized to erase Sundays. Robespierre, sensing excess, introduced supreme being worship, May 1794, a deistic alternative, yet it failed to stem violence. The sisters' arrest coincided with this zenith, their simple devotions deemed threats. In prison, their composure influenced others. English Benedictines noted wedding-like preparations, perhaps alluding to mystical union with the divine. The journey to trial, in habits due to laundry mishap, turned transport into procession, hymns drawing curious crowds. Why did songs unsettle the mob more than screams? C7. The tribunal, under Fouquier-Tinville, born 1746, a relentless prosecutor, handled high-profile cases like Marie Antoinette's. His boredom masked efficiency in condemning. The interruption by Thérèse, seeking fanaticism's definition, highlighted absurdity belief as crime. Their collective refusal, renewing vows post-sentence, singing thanksgiving, froze guards. This defiance, rooted in Carmelite spirituality emphasizing interior prayer and sacrifice, transformed courtroom into chapel. The execution day unfolded amid sweltering heat, the Place de la Nation, then Trône Renversé reeking from prior bloodbaths. Loaded with others, the sisters singing contrasted the despair, drawing onlookers from daily routines. Shopkeepers paused, mothers with children queried the melody's source. The 3-hour procession allowed hymns to permeate the city, perhaps sowing doubt in revolutionary zeal. Upon arrival, Executioner Sanson, from a dynastic family of headsmen, had officiated thousands, including the king. His agreement to a final hymn suggested momentary humanity amid routine. The Veni Creator invocation, calling the spirit, set a transcendent tone. Renewing vows collectively affirmed their identity against erasure attempts. Thérèse's order youngest first-centured elders bolstered novices, a maternal strategy. Constance's ascent, brushing aids, set the pattern, kneel for blessing, kiss statuette, solo climb, continuous song. Each blade drop reduced voices, yet melody persisted. A auditory countdown mesmerizing the crowd. No jeers disrupted, silence amplified the ritual. Lay sisters like Julie performing manual tasks lifelong, ascended with choir nuns' dignity, her uneducated Latin from rote memory underscoring faith's accessibility. The eldest's forgiveness to Sanson, praying his absolution, humanized the moment, perhaps haunting him later. As voices dwindled 5, 3, 2 tension mounted. Thérèse alone, after blessing 15, sang Salve Regina's close, her solo piercing the hush. Her unassisted positioning, skyward gaze, blade fall, ended the chorus. The profound silence post-echoed witnesses' awe, a city confronting its bloodlust. Bodies dumped unmarked at Picpus, a former convent turned mass grave, mingled with 300 others. Yet fracture emerged. Whispers spread, questioning the necessity. 10 days later, the Thermidorian reaction arrested Robespierre July 27th, executing him 28th amid screams contrasting sisters' composure. Coincidence or providence? Survivors claimed politics, others saw divine intervention. The terror fed fear, sisters demonstrated transcendence. Benedictines preserved relics, spreading the tale. Church delayed till 1906 beatification, 2024 canonization via equipollent recognizing long-standing veneration, without miracles affirms enduring impact. Picpus today, private, hosts annual commemorations, singing same hymns, keeping memory alive. Names echo while executioners fade. True triumph lies in unyielding remembrance. Victory isn't survival but eternal echo of refusal. This concludes the chronicle on the Historian Fact. For more unearthed histories, like and subscribe to The History and Fact.